We are going to go to Unit 2, the Unit 2 folder here. Earlier this week on Tuesday, we talked about citations and quotes and how we can use citations and quotes to be able to give credit and alert our reader that the ideas didn't initially belong to us. So we talked about that on Tuesday. Today, we're going to focus on avoiding plagiarism. So we're going to talk about paraphrasing. And the very first thing I want to do is, if you've got something to write with today, I'm going to pass out a card for you. I'm going to take some notes that you can use. To help you with this assignment. Okay. So on this card, we are going to take some notes here. We are going to make what we're going to call a paraphrasing toolkit. So up here at the top of the card, I just want you to write paraphrasing tool kit. Okay, so let's first talk about what paraphrasing is to begin with. Paraphrasing is when you take somebody else's ideas that were presented to you in writing. So like a sentence from one of the articles that you have been reading, you want to write about it. You can take that sentence, you can put it into your own words, which is what paraphrasing is. Paraphrasing means to put it in your own words, and then you give credit to the source where you found it. Paraphrasing is something that is helpful because sometimes you have a long piece of text and you want to paraphrase it, or you put, if you don't want to, put a whole paragraph quote in your paper, you may just want to try to put into own words what the general idea of that quote is about. So it's helpful to us. And again, it's fine to do that, to take somebody else's idea, put it into your own words and put it into your writing, as long as you're giving credit to the person who where you got the source from, or where you got that idea from. So we're going to look at a paraphrasing toolkit. Okay.
It's time to help people customize and save.
There we go. Okay. Let me make sure that I'm getting the sound shared here. 2728. All right. So we are going to look at a grammar toolkit for paraphrasing. So if you want to take somebody else's ideas and you want to put them into your own words, we've got a toolkit that will help you. These are the ways, some strategies that you can use to help put somebody else's idea in your own words.
Let's look at these 5 grammar tools one by one. Number 1, synonyms. Synonyms are words that have similar meanings, and we always want to use synonyms when we paraphrase. But we have to be careful, because if we overuse synonyms, or if we just start plugging in a lot of synonyms in our paraphrase, the paraphrase sometimes sounds strange. So we need to choose synonyms carefully.
Okay, so first thing on your card that I passed out to you, I want you to write number 1, the first tool that you can use is the use of synonyms. And synonyms are words that mean the same thing as another word. And out to the side, you can put a thesaurus. Is a helpful tool to help you generate synonyms. And like the lady said in the video, we want to be careful with synonyms that we're not overusing synonyms. Paraphrasing is not taking a sentence that belongs to somebody else and just swapping out words, and that's it. Like just changing words by popping in synonyms. It's a tool you can use, but you want to use it sparingly and in combination with some of the other tools that we're going to write down here today. So she's going to show you an example of how overusing synonyms can affect the way that your writing sounds.
Let's see an example. Due to climate change, fires in California have become more dangerous. Here's my paraphrase. Because of climate change, blazes in California have been more hazardous. Which sentence do you prefer? Probably the first one, right? That's because I overuse synonyms in my paraphrase, and some of the synonyms don't sound very good. We want to use synonyms, but we need to be careful to choose them well.
Okay, so let me move this for a second. So you can see here in the example that she just gave, they change due to, because of, they left climate change the same. They changed fires to blazes. They left in California have the same. They changed become to been. And then they left more the same, and they changed dangerous to hazardous. So when we look at this the new sentence that they came up with here, just swapping those out, first of all, the grammatical format is too similar to what you're working on. And so this could still be flagged as something that's being plagiarized because it's too close to the original. Because of climate change, blazes in California have been more hazardous. That doesn't flow quite as well as that initial sentence. So again, we don't want to overuse synonyms.
Use synonyms in my paraphrase, and some of the synonyms don't sound very good. We want to use synonyms, but we need to be careful to choose them well. Also, notice that I did not change climate change. Why? Because climate change is a specific term, and there isn't really a good synonym for that.
So you want to make sure if there are words that are key to the meaning of what you're writing about. For my example, like the article that I've been reading is all about homework. Uh-oh, what's going on? Is there... Oh, good. I'm glad you got it. Oh, sorry. Do you need like a Kleenex or anything? I know. I could tell something was going on. I'm like, what's going on? It is September. That's, I think on Tuesday we talked about now we're seeing spiders.
I saw like in my Tumblr. I watched on my
Where is it? Okay. So again, if there are key terms, like, for example, in my article, which is all about homework, I wouldn't want to change that term homework. I'd want to leave that specific. It's a key term that has to do with my article. Okay.
If I change it to changes in the weather, it doesn't really have the same meaning. Tool number 2, move parts of the sentence. Many long sentences in English have parts that you can move, and this is an easy way to make your paraphrase better.
Okay, so before she gives the example, let's put tool number 2. Tool number 2 is move parts of the sentence. We are going to chunk. I'm putting a chunk here. You can chunk the sentences into groups of words, like phrases that make sense on their own even. And sometimes you can take a chunk that comes at the beginning of a sentence and you can move it to the end. Sometimes you can take something that comes at the end and move it to the beginning, and it can help you paraphrase. Now, that tool alone will not be enough for paraphrasing, but if you use chunking and moving those parts along with synonyms, that's going to get you a better paraphrase. So let's take a look at this chunking that she's talking about.
For example, due to climate change, fires in California have become more dangerous. So we have an introductory phrase here that we can move. Fires in California have become more dangerous due to climate change. Now, if we want to make our paraphrase better, we're going to use a couple of synonyms. Fires in California have become increasingly serious because of climate change. Notice here that I used increasingly serious and because of, and those are good synonyms. Tool number 3, change the page. Notice here.
So you can see here, she used those tools in combination with one another, and it made the sentence better than just using synonyms by themselves or just moving sentence parts by themselves. So you can see, due to climate change and because of climate change, she just swapped and moved moved it from the beginning to the end. Okay. Next, tool number 3.
Tool number 3, change the parts of speech. Parts of speech are noun, verb, adjective, adverb, and this is a tricky one, but in some sentences it works really well. Remember my example about learning languages? Let's see it again. When acquiring a second language, you need to pay attention to the differences between your first language and the new language. Now listen to my paraphrase. When you learn a second language, you should notice how the first language and second languages are different. This is an example of changing the parts of speech because I changed the words differences to different.
Okay, so tool number 3 is to change parts of speech. I wouldn't get too caught up in the like, is this an adverb or is this an adjective? Don't get too caught up in that, but know enough that you can change the form. So for example, like if I have the word different, like she said, you could change that to differences. Another thing might be happy. Happy is an adjective. I'm going to put an adjective here. And instead of happy, I could, if I, instead of using the adjective happy, I might be able to rephrase the sentence where I use the term happiness, which is a noun, instead. So you're changing the word form, the part of speech. And that tool can help you when you're paraphrasing. So let's take a look at some more examples here.
Of course, you have to be careful to make other changes in grammar that are necessary for the sentence to have correct structure. Let's see another one. Researchers have found that one key to happiness is relaxation. Here's my paraphrase. Researchers have found that one key to being happy is to relax. So here I changed happiness to being happy. Happy is an adjective. And I changed relaxation to the verb to relax. Let's see one more. Due to climate change, fires in California have become more dangerous. Here I'm going to change dangerous to a greater danger. Due to climate change, fires in California have become a greater danger. So again, I changed the adjective dangerous to the noun danger, and we don't say more danger, so I changed more dangerous to a greater danger. Number 4, change affirmative to negative or vice versa. So here you're going to look for.
Okay, so let's write that number 4 down. This is the 4th tool. Is to change affirmative to negative. And she's going to give an example here. I'm going to go ahead and write it down so you can get this written down. She's going to talk about the word frustrated. And she's going to say, well, what does it mean to be frustrated? Frustrated can mean not satisfied. That would be the negative to use a no term with this. If you're frustrated, you're not satisfied. So instead of frustrated, you could say a person was unsatisfied. So basically trying to look at a word, see if there's a way that you can add like a negative prefix to it, like un or dis, non, and changing affirmative terms into a negative term. So let's take a look at what she's going to say about that.
Words that you can change by using a negative. Here's an example. The frustrated voters waited in line for several hours. So think about the word frustrated. What does frustrated mean? It means not happy, right? Or not satisfied. So I can change frustrated to unsatisfied. Here I'm using the negative prefix un. The frustrated voters waited in line for several hours. The unsatisfied voters waited in line for several hours. And the last one, number 5, combine sentences. When we have a paragraph, we can take some of those sentences and combine them to make our paraphrase better.
Okay, so the last tool, tool number 5, is combine sentences, and that's when you are paraphrasing longer chunks of text. So if you have 2 or more sentences that you're getting ready to paraphrase, there may be a way that you can combine those sentences and get your point across in fewer words. So let's take a look at that. Combine sentences there. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at what she has to say here.
Let's see an example. Due to climate change, fires in California have become more dangerous. The governor has promised to work harder to combat climate change as the state moves toward clean energy. So here we have 2 sentences, and we can combine them together. Due to climate change, fires in California have become more dangerous, but as the state moves toward clean energy, the governor has promised to work harder to combat climate change. Now, we're not finished. The paraphrase is basically the same as the original. It's just that we combined those sentences together and moved one thing. We're going to have to use some synonyms and maybe other changes to make the paraphrase good. When you
Okay, so that's the grammar toolkit, these 5 tools. When you're paraphrasing, to make your paraphrase strong and not make it a weak paraphrase, again, you don't want to rely on just one tool by itself. You want to use a combination of tools. That also doesn't mean you have to use all 5 tools. You can pick and choose, but use these tools in combination in different ways depending on your circumstances to help you paraphrase. All right, so we're going to keep this card for a second because we're going to need it to do the next piece. Okay, so let me exit out of this video. All right. There's another video about paraphrasing here. You can watch it on your own. It's just some additional information about how to paraphrase. It goes over some of the same tools that we just talked about in this toolkit. All right, the next piece I want to talk about is with paraphrasing. This is one place where using AI could be helpful to you. And so in this class, obviously I don't want you writing, feeding a assignment prompt into AI and having it generate an entire essay for you. But I do want to talk with you about how you can use AI to assist you in your writing, to help you brainstorm, to help you improve your own writing. AI can't do this all on its own. We're going to play around a little bit with the AI tool, Google Gemini, and we're going to use Gemini because we've all got Google accounts in here. And so we can all use Gemini with our Google account. But we're going to play around a little bit with Google Gemini, and we're going to use the writing assistant, which isn't smart enough on its own to do a good job of paraphrasing, but it can help us polish and make sure we're going in the right direction. So we're going to use that in combination with our paraphrasing toolkit here. So we're going to take a look, first of all, in the Little Seagull Handbook. Oh, shoot. I got to go up to, we've got to click on, let's go up to 2.5, the punctuating quotations. If you just open up that inquisitive assignment and then you go back, I don't know why it does that. Then you go back to the link with the handbook, it should log you right in. So there will be times in this course where we're going to use Gemini, Google Gemini, the AI tool, to help us. Again, as an assisting tool. Again, it's important to know that AI is not good enough yet on its own to get you the best results. So, but we can use it to help us polish what we're looking at here. So when we look at the Little Seagull Handbook, there's a whole section here on using AI and writing with AI. It says that we're going to think of AI as a tool, not a creature. Using AI in composition class is like using a calculator in a math class. You can't use a calculator until you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And you have to learn how to write first before you can use those tools to help you write more efficiently. So we're going to be doing in here this semester a combination of things where I'm teaching you the foundational skills of writing, and then we can use AI to assist us in getting there, making the writing process a little more quick, just like you would in math, where you're using a calculator and maybe you're using that to assist you in some of the harder labor to make the process go a little bit faster. Again, it does list off some different AI apps or AI tools. We've got ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot. We're going to be using Google Gemini. And it says you've probably used these tools in your daily life, and it's likely that in the future, you're going to engage with them as part of your academic life too. You might end up using ChatGPT as a virtual tutor to help you study for a test or understand a difficult concept. Or perhaps you're going to interact with AI to brainstorm research questions for a project that you're going to work on. You can use it to find patterns in survey data that you collect. You can use it to get feedback on an essay that you're writing. Generative AI can serve as a powerful aid to our academic work, but we need to use the tools responsibly and productively. So that means knowing why, when, and how to use AI in academic settings, and then also how not to use it. And this appendix in the Little Seagull Handbook is going to give us some advice for how we can incorporate AI tools into our writing and the learning process in useful, and then more importantly, ethical ways. Just like we give credit or we cite sources that we use, we're also going to give credit to AI where needed when we're writing, we're using it in our writing or our essays, and we're going to talk about how to do that. I'm going to walk you through all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the page to the next page here. Go. Again, you want to be careful with AI because just like if you're not citing your sources, if you're copying and pasting a quote into your paper and not giving credit to that source, that would be considered plagiarism. Again, it's never acceptable to submit AI produced work as your own. So that can count as plagiarism. So you want to be careful in the way that you use it. Let's see here. Let me go down. I'm going to go ahead and turn that page. There are many ways we can use AI to support our writing process. There it talks about how to write good prompts. We're going to be talking about writing prompts later on in the semester, but we also are going to use here particularly this section, prompts for help with editing and proofreading your essay. These prompts that are listed here in this section are kind of that go along the same tool that we're going to use to kind of help us generate some ideas for when we paraphrase. So just pointing you to this section of the Little Seagull Handbook. Let me go back here. Again, AI is not always right. You want to make sure you're verifying sources, you're fact checking any information. It's important to still use your own judgment and critical thinking. So we just want to be careful that just because you type something in doesn't mean the right thing is going to come out. Also, acknowledging your use of AI. This is again where you're going to cite AI generated material and how it's talking about how it's important to do that. And it says, if you incorporate content from AI directly into your writing by quoting, paraphrasing, or summarizing information that is generated by AI, then you need to cite AI, the AI tool as a source. So we're going to walk through here later on in the process how we're going to give credit to Google Gemini for helping us with our paraphrasing. All right, so let me go back here into our Google Docs. What I want you to do right now is you're going to click on the link to Google Gemini. This is our writing assistant. It is going to ask you to sign in. So you can sign in using your the same information that the same Google account you're using for this class. All right. So we've got, you should end up with a tool like this, and we've got a place to enter a prompt. All right, now, what we're gonna do next, we're gonna come back over into Blackboard. We're gonna leave Gemini, that assistant, open. And I want you to go down to the paraphrasing for summary chart. And I want you to open this up. And it's going to open up a document that looks like this. Maybe. There we go. It's going to open up a document that looks like this. And I want you to start out by, on this document here, putting your last name up in the top right corner by the page number. Again, this is MLA format. You're gonna put your last name up there. Where it says name, you're gonna put your first and last name. Professor Singleton, this is English 101. And today's date is the 19th of September of 2024. And I don't know if your document says this, but the numbering for this document should say 2.6. So if it doesn't say 2.6, change that. I think yours might say 2.8. This is 2.6. And you're going to write paraphrasing for the summary of, and then there's a place for you to put your title in quotation marks. So we're going to be doing a paraphrasing exercise to help us prepare to write our summary for the article that we read in Unit 1. So again, I know we've got a lot of tabs open here, but you're going to go back into your 1.6 assignment. The 1.6 assignment was your annotation assignment, where we labeled all of the claims of policy, claims of fact. We labeled the main claims, the reasons, the counter arguments. I want you to go back into that document, and I think you can just you can access it by clicking on this 1.6. I'm going to go ahead and open up my 1.6 right here. This was the assignment that had the check boxes on it, where we made comments and labeled and annotated our reading. Okay. All right, so the title of your article that you read for Unit 1 and that you annotated for Unit 1, I want you to type that title here in your, where it says title here. So I'm just, the title of mine is just homework. When we write a summary, there are several key parts that we have to include. We have to have an opening sentence in every summary that we write. So when we write a summary paragraph in here, we're going to be using an opening sentence. So we want to use a sentence structure that looks like this. In the text, we're going to put the article's name. Then we're going to name the author. We want a verb that describes what the author's doing in the article. And then we want to list the topic. So over here in this box, I want you to start, first of all, in the text. We're going to put quotation marks, and I want you to put, again, the title of the article that you're summarizing. So I'm going to put homework. In the text, homework. You put your title in that box. Then you need your author's name. My author is Saul Austerlitz. That's who wrote my article. So I'm going to put Saul Austerlitz. And then I need a verb that tells what Saul is doing about the topic of the article. He's talking about homework. So I need to try to think of a verb that would explain what Saul is doing. Now, our book over in Blackboard, I'm going to go to this Mills chapter 3, where we're writing another summary of an argument. If you go to 3.2, talks about the claims and the main claims. This gives some ideas. He says, I love homework. That's not necessarily a claim of fact. That's more of a claim of value. He's saying he loves homework. So I may want to say Austerlitz praises homework, or Austerlitz celebrates homework. Austerlitz applauds the notion that homework is a good thing. He endorses homework. He admires homework. He finds value in homework. He raves about homework because he's just having a positive claim of value. So you're going to look at the claim that you have, and you can use some of these phrases. Like if your main idea that you located, and again, you've got your notes here in 1.6, you're going to go these notes where we went back and we took our notes and made our notes here. I found my main claim, and I had also labeled it as a claim of value. Remember, it's a claim of value if it's like related to emotions or feelings. It's a claim of policy if you're wanting action to take place. If it's just like a lot of you have newspaper articles that it's just stating like, here's an informational story, it might be a claim of fact.
Edit access.
Let me see. On which one? On 2.6? 1.6.
I guess it's because we turned it in.
Yeah. And I haven't handed it back. That's what it is. Shoot. Okay. Hold on a minute. Boop. I told you it's the Mondayest The Monday is Thursday. I've had in a while. So let me go into 1.6, just a minute. Hang tight here, just a second. That's what it is. Okay, just a minute. Oops. Give me just a second. Guess they give me 2 minutes. Slowly but surely, it's returning them to you. Just a second. Okay. I think it's returned them to you. You may have to hit refresh, but it should have returned 1.6 to you if you submitted it. That'll have your notes on it. Okay. So again, you're looking at what your main claim is, wherever you mark that main claim. If you mark that claim, if you labeled it, mine was a claim of value. And again, you can use these terms. Like if you're introducing a controversial claim of fact, they argue, they maintain, they consist, or contend, they assert, inform, describe, note. This kind of gives you a list of verbs. Here, if I were reading an article where he was saying that he hates homework, then I might say he criticizes homework, deplores homework, finds fault in homework, regrets that homework is still being assigned to students. So because mine is a positive one, where he's saying he loves homework, I'm going to use praises. In the text homework, Saul Austerlitz praises, or how about this? Not praises. There was one that said values. That's what I want to use. Finds value in. So I'm going to say he finds value in assigning homework. And I'm going to put homework to children like his own. So my topic is homework. So I want to make sure that I've checked all these kind of boxes here, that I've put the article's name, the author's name, a verb, and I've mentioned what the topic is. I'm gonna put this down here. I don't want to lose it. All right. So next thing, what you're going to do in the blue column here, this is your next job, is you're going to fill out this blue column. So you're going to go back into your article, the 1.6, your notes, and you are going to find like where you labeled the main claim. That was, but here's the thing, I love homework. So I'm going to come over here, but here's the thing, I love homework. And it also, this sentence is also part of that main idea. It provides me with a means to discover just what my children are spending their days learning, how that learning is progressing, and how I might help. So I'm going to copy and paste that sentence because this is the direct quote, the sentence from the article. So I want you to put the word for word sentence from the article that is the thesis statement here in this first box. Yes, thesis statement is the main claim. So I'm even going to make that note here. This is thesis statement / main claim. And it states the author's opinion. Typically, it'll state the author's opinion on the topic that you're reading about. Once you copy and paste that main claim in there, you labeled reasons in your 1.6. You made notes for reasons they had this main claim. He said he loved homework. and he listed 3 reasons why he loved homework. Maybe more than 3, but I've got 3 here. First reason, he says, I enjoy the daily array of tweaks that teachers suggest. Whiteboards, not scrap paper. The dining room table, not the living room couch, that help build a successful homework routine. So I'm going to copy and paste that sentence. I'm going to put that right here in this box. These are direct copy paste in this blue column. That's okay. You can leave the 2 and the 3 blank if there's not more than. And if you found 4 reasons, if your article listed 4 reasons and there's only 3 here, we can, you can highlight that row and you can insert a row below and put a 4th reason in there. It's depending on, you know, how your article is set up. So my author, when I went through and I annotated my article, my author gave 3 reasons for loving homework. Second reason was I enjoy seeing them overcome the initial impulse that if something doesn't come easily, it isn't worth doing. That's right here. There was a reason. Another reason, I am thankful to be granted the opportunity to walk alongside them as they commit to the work of learning. That could be a reason. Actually, I think I had a better one there. But I love bearing witness to the steady accretion of skill until I notice that my younger son is suddenly reading fluidly. So you should have a row that's dedicated to main claim, a few rows or how many ever rows, how many reasons that you were able to identify. Then I want you to find the sentence where you located the counter argument. The counter argument, you made a note of that too. My counter argument was homework has fallen out of favor with a new generation of parents and teachers. Is drudgery, they say, rote work that unnecessarily burdens children. So I'm going to copy and paste that and put that in my counter argument box. Then you can leave that one blank. Yep, if you did not have a counter argument, you can leave that blank. And then finally, the conclusion, we didn't label that, but I want you at the end of the article, typically in the last sentence or 2, the author will let you know what they want you to do with the information they just said, like what the next step is. He's saying after he says, oh, how much he loves homework and how great homework is, he hopes that his hope for the future, this is conclusion, it's typically talking about, what you want to see in the future or what the next thing is. Sometimes it also just is a restatement of the author's opinion, like they may state their I love homework again. He says, I hope that after I am no longer there to play the villain, they will cherish their curiosity, guarding it against anything or anyone who might dull it. So he's hoping that by doing homework with his kids, that they're going to value their curiosity and hold it, treasure it so that no one can take that away from them. All right. Now, we are at 142. So here's what I want you to do for homework. I want you to make sure you've got this blue column filled out, that you have the blue column labeled. When we come back to class next week on Tuesday, I'm going to show you how to use Gemini and our toolkit. Bring this toolkit card back with you to use Gemini and the toolkit to do the paraphrases. Don't turn in 2.6 yet. Hold on to it. All you need to do is fill out the blue column, copying and pasting the sentences that you found and that you labeled in there. So let me go back into the announcements and make sure that I've got that in there. Okay. I'm going to put out note, fill out blue column only, do not submit yet. Okay. The other thing I do want you to do, in addition to filling out that blue column for homework, is I want you to go ahead and read. Let me save this. I want you to go ahead and read in Unit 2, that chapter that is located there, Mills Chapter 3, about writing a summary. There were 11 pages to read. Here was page 1, what's a summary? Page 2, introducing the argument and the main claim. Page 3, describing the reasoning. You're going to read those 11 pages, and then there is a assignment to test your comprehension of that chapter, worth 14 points. So I want you to do that for homework as well. Then when we come back to class on Tuesday, that's where we're going to get into using we just didn't move fast enough today, sorry. We're going to end up using the paraphrasing toolkit and Google Gemini to help us start developing paraphrases. Are there questions? So bring this card back. Don't submit 2.6 and do 2.7. All right. Y'all are free to go. Have a great weekend. I will see you next week.